Hi there. Today we're making a sauce, and I'm going to butcher the name of it. It's spelled three different ways in English. Okay, here we go. We call it zhoug around our house.
Zhug, ruler of the lizard people.
Yes, exactly. But apparently, so it's from Yemen originally, and it's apparently eaten all over the Middle East, and I first discovered it when I went to a party that was hosted by Israelis who loved this sauce. And it's a bit like a chimichurri, like a pesto, like a chermoula. It's a green, an herby sauce with a little hit of acid and a little hit of fat of some sort in it. And in this case, lots of chilies. Now, how much you put in is up to you. Traditionally, it's very spicy. The way we make it is a little less than is traditional, and we like spicy food, but it's totally up to you as you go along how spicy you want it to be. So it's, like I said, it's an herby sauce, and it's apparently, it's one of those sounds that those of us who only speak English don't do very well. It's a kind of sound, except it's like, skhug. See, I can't do it, right?
Little penicillin will clear
sometimes it's spelled with a Z for those of you in the States. Sometimes it's spelled SK, but it's trying to replicate that sound that we just don't have in English. So let's get on with making this sauce. So this sauce can be used for all sorts of things. You can make a grilled cheese sandwich, put a little on the inside bread before you put your cheese on, then make your grilled cheese. Very tasty, spicy, lovely. A little bit on an egg that you made, perhaps, on a Buddha bowl or rice bowl as a sauce. You can mix it into things like, say, you've made some hummus from our previous, you could mix a little zhoug in and it would be super tasty.
I had some on tacos the other night. It was really good.
Yeah, exactly. On tacos, great, especially with those pickled onions.
And it's not an effective floor polish. You should probably point that out.
Yeah, sure, hun. Because you polish the floors all the time.
I do, actually.
Let's carry on with that, shall we? Boop.
But I really
Let's go.
Okay, edit.
No, I'm not editing this. Anyway, so we're starting with cilantro, also called coriander, but not the coriander seed, obviously the green part of the plant. So that's about 1.5 cups. But like I've always said to you, the measurements will be down below in the box. So don't worry about that as we go through. You'll be able to read them down below if you click see more. So we're going to put this cilantro into a container. Now I am using, you can see here I washed it. There's a little bit of water down at the bottom. I'm using a stick blender for this. I've also used the food processor and I've used my magic bullet. Each one provides a slightly different texture to the sauce. Traditionally, I think it was made in a mortar with a pestle where you would pound it. In that case, what you get is more chunks of the herb as well as the hot peppers. When you blend it, you get a creamier sauce with less texture. It's up to you. You can pulse in your food processor. If you have a mixie in India, use your mixie.
It also puts a little bit of heat into it as well, right? So
it does. That using any kind of appliance adds heat, which changes the flavor somewhat, particularly if you're using something like olive oil. It can alter it depending on how long it spends in the heated up process. I was going to say, though, in India, we had several chutneys with dosa that are, traditionally you get the coconut chutney, but there were various other ones. There was a red one and a green one we would sometimes get. And this is very, very similar to this because, again, it's herbs and it's chili peppers. And so let's go ahead and carry on with that. So there's the cilantro. Then this is chopped up jalapeno. You can use serranos, you can use whatever chili peppers
habaneros
you like. And depends on how much heat you want. Now, this is about 3 jalapenos, and I removed the seeds and I removed the membranes. The way I determine how hot a jalapeno is, because they're hugely varied, they can be almost like a bell pepper and they can be pretty darn hot, is that I cut off the top and then I put my tongue right on the green bit. And you know what? If it zings me, I know it's got a fair amount of heat. If it doesn't, I'm like, okay, this one's a little bit more like a bell pepper, like a sweet pepper. So I need to put more in. If you end up making this and it's too hot for you, I'll come back to that at the end. There are things that you can do for that. But I would advise you to start with what you think you might like based on your heat tolerance level, and you can always add more. It's hard to take it out, but like I said, I do have some tricks for that as well. So this was 3 jalapeños that we're throwing in there, and they've just been seeded and chopped up. This is a mixture of water, olive oil, and lemon juice.
Equal parts?
Nope, but the measurements are down below. It's equal parts water and olive oil with half as much lemon juice. But that gives you your citrus and your fat content. This is a chopped, peeled clove of garlic.
So when you said hit of acid, it wasn't like buying a concert ticket in the 60s.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Okay.
no hit of acid that way.
Okay.
This is, okay, so there are 3 spices in here. Now they may not look like yours because, as I've said before, we tend to grind our own. And so they often don't look like what came out of your jar that you bought at Safeway or wherever. So this is equal parts of ground coriander. That's that one. And this time we're talking about the seed as opposed to cilantro, which is the green. Ground cumin, and that is cardamom with half as much ground cardamom.
It's an interesting mixture.
It really is.
Cardamom is
Yeah,
unusual.
it's unusual to have cardamom
it's almost
in
Indian,
there.
right? 'Cause
Cardamom is the second most expensive spice in the world. The first is saffron.
Thank you, Madam Trivia.
Yeah, well, you know what? Most people don't know that. It's an interesting little tidbit. You can bring it up at a party. Not really. Anyway, this is honey. So honey gives it just a touch of sweetness, which is kind of nice in there too. Some recipes don't have the honey, some do.
That helps to counteract extra heat too, right?
It does. So we're going to take the stick blender and we're really just going to puree it. And this is where I said you can use the food processor, you can use a mortar, you can use your magic bullet, you can use any kind of blender, you can use a mixie. So the smell that's coming off of here is that pepper smell, not necessarily chili, but like a bell pepper, green pepper, very, very green smell. And then the cilantro is super green. So it's a very bright green.
It's awesome.
It is, it's a really good sauce.
Awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce, yes. So I'm gonna leave this one pretty chunky. The last one I made was quite smooth, and I wanted to try one that was a little chunky.
You just add a little water to it to thin it out? Is that what your trick would be?
No, it's just how much I pureed it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I found it didn't need any more than that. So,
She's got rhythm. She's got rhythm.
have a look in there.
I'm looking.
The smell is just so green. I can't think of another word for it. So you can definitely puree that more if you want it more saucy. Yes, I said saucy.
Saucy.
Like I said, this is chunkier because I wanted to give this a go this time. I also wanted to point out that with that cilantro, I didn't take the stems off. I think a lot of people pull off the stems and throw them in the compost or wherever. I get that if what you're doing is having the leafy bit to garnish something, but if what you're doing is pureeing, the stems taste just as cilantro-y as the leaves do, so please don't chuck those out. In fact, there are some recipes that call for the roots of the cilantro in Asia because they have that concentrated cilantro flavor to them. So definitely use your stems. Definitely do that. So now, if it's too spicy, let's see if this one is.
Swing.
Okay, so it's very bright. I got the lemon, I got the honey, I got a bit of the spices, and the cilantro, and then the heat kicks in.
Is there salt in there too?
Actually there isn't, but there needs to be. Thank you, love. I don't know. Somehow I didn't measure that out. And there's not much in there. But yes.
How much
and
would go in? It would be down.
it'll be down below. I'll put the amount of salt in there. I'm just going to add a bit because you're right. It does. It needs a touch of salt. But this has a fair amount of heat to it. It's, I would say it's the Bailey household kind of heat. We like this. For those of you though, if you made this and you said to yourself, okay, that's a little too spicy for me. I don't know how to use this. that's where you put a little dollop in a bowl of soup, because a little dollop spread over your whole bowl of soup, suddenly it's not so spicy anymore. You mix a little dollop in with your hummus. That's also a way to do it. Or yogurt. That would make a great sauce. Take plain yogurt, mix
Half
in,
and half or something like
yeah,
that.
mix in some zhug and then spread that over something. That would be really nice. The other thing you can do is you can add more cilantro to this. You can add more of the acid and more of the spices and more of the olive oil and the lemon juice without adding any more of the jalapeños. And so you would just have more volume of it with the same amount of jalapeños in there. So there are ways to do it if you've made it too hot for yourself. But I would say, you know, yes, start small and add on as you go. The problem with chili peppers is that they're not consistent. You can't know that this chili pepper is going to be a super spicy one and that one's not, other than, of course, some chilies are generally hotter than others. So there you go, zhug.
Really good with pork and chicken and
It is,
even
it's great.
tofu even.
It's great with meats.
Yeah.
Good with something like tofu that has relatively little flavor of its own and takes on other flavors. This is bright and lovely, and anywhere that you would use a pesto or you would use a chimichurri or a chermoula, all of those things, or a chutney, you could use this in that way. Have it with plain rice, you know, and give that extra kick. Anyway, there you go. That is your zhug for today.